So recently, there's been quite a bit of discourse around the nature boys and the young pharaohs of them all. And I just want to say that this is not the beginning of things of this nature happening. This is patterns. These things happen in patterns. They happen every couple of years. They happen in different demographics with different people. But the person that I want to speak about today is Malachi York, born in 1945. He utilized black empowerment to essentially dehumanize, demean, and degrade, as well as abuse and assault black women, men, as well as children, unfortunately. Now, I want to start out with where all of this started before he got there, okay? Now, like I said, he was born in 1945. He was born in Boston. Now, by 1964, at the age of 19, York received probation, okay? Now, he received probation at the age of 19 for assaulting a 13-year-old girl. Now, he went on to end up in prison from 1967 to 1970. He was released from prison in 1967. He got out of prison with a new attitude, baby, ready to defend the honor of the black community. All right. So he decided to join the Black Panther movement. So from 1967 to 1970, he was a part of the Black Panther movement, and he also began his own religious movement. Very important. He began this movement in New York under the guise of what? Protecting black people. He was a part of the Black Panthers. Now, by 1973, he was operating in Brooklyn as the Asura Allah community. Do not try to check me on how I'm saying it, because I don't give a fuck what this man's society was called, not even a little bit. And I'm not here to disrespect anyone's heritage. We're talking about this in particular. Stay on the subject. So from 1980 to 1990, his teachings became very eclectic. Okay, not just eclectic, but they were very odd. He was starting to become a very odd individual. Now, it's not odd that he was teaching black nationalism. It's not odd that he was teaching black people how to uplift themselves. Those are not the odd things, okay? But then he started bringing multiple different things together underneath one hat. So he started bringing together the idea of ancient Egyptians, Islam, black nationalism, Judaism, new age concepts of UFO beliefs. Now, mind you, this is from 1980 to 1990. So we're going to take a step back. From 1967 to 1970, he was a part of the Black Panthers. We fast forward to 1990, and he's talking about UFO beliefs. Okay. So you see the progression from basically saying fight the power to now we're aliens. All right. Walk with me. So now we're in 1992. The movement changed by that time because he started moving closer into his UFO beliefs. All right. It was called the Holy Tabernacle Ministry. Tabernacle. Just making sure. That's what it was called. All right. Now, in 1993, all right, this is when things really started to get greasy, sleazy, and rather uneasy. All right. Now, on this date, he decided that he was going to take all his people and York was going to move them from New York, and he was going to move their black asses down to Georgia. And not Atlanta, baby. He was moving them to Putnam County. All right. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, where the hell is Putnam County in Georgia? Never heard of it. And you didn't hear of it for a reason. That's why he took all them marginalized people down there. Okay. Because he knew won't nobody going to come looking for him. Not in Putnam, Georgia. All right. And then the movement got a new name. The movement became the United Nuwambian Nation of Moors. Okay. Now, mind you, as all of these transitions and changes are happening, his followers are following him diligently, with tenacity, with honor, and with loyalty. These are black people, okay? So they follow him from New York to Georgia. They allow him to rename their group yet again. And he went and he basically bought 476 acres and created, button your seatbelts, an Egyptian themed compound. All right. Now, this is just a compound at this point. So that's nothing too crazy, right? Because I mean, people with cults usually have compounds. Now, by late 1990, this is where things start to get a little greasy because the authorities began to scrutinize the community. Now, we're going to take a break on dates, and I'm going to tell you what actually happened in the meantime, in between time. So after he moved from New York, he moved all them black people down there. He had several wives at the time. He was assaulting his wives on the regular basis. Mind you, one of his first wives, he found and started having sex with her when she was 9 years old. So he assaulted her. He abused her because she could not give consent. He was abusing and assaulting children before he even moved to Georgia, right? But this is the thing, it was under the guise of a wife. And you know, people become okay with things when you start throwing around the misogyny and the misogynoir, because that's what was happening. It was also black women within the cult who were facilitating these things to get closer to that gentleman. So women were offering off their daughters to this man, essentially to allow him to ape them. I'm not good with doing these things because I like to just say what I got to say, but neither here nor there. They were auctioning their children off. He takes wives that are from anywhere from the age of 8 to 13. This is in New York. Moves to Georgia, opens the compound. By this time, his first wife that was 9 is now like 20. She gets pregnant. She has the baby, has 2 babies. She's still sticking with him, even though it's scary, even though her mom had already left, her siblings left, because that's all she knows. Her dad was in the cult, and her dad was allowing this man to berate, steal, mistreat, and beat him, all under the guise of black nationalism. So anyways, right, we're fast forwarding, we're back. We're back in the 1990s when the authorities get suspicious. Now, this is what was actually happening, right? The wife that he had when he was 9, who is now 20 at this point and has 2 children, he's now mentioning to her, because he's not only been assaulting young girls at this point, he's now started assaulting young men as well. And people are allowing him to do it. At this point, he has over 300 children and over 27 wives. And this woman said that he mentioned their son to him. That's what happened. He mentioned his own son to the mother. And she's like, why the fuck would he even say that to me? I'm the mother. I'm here to protect my child. Why would he think that when you've been okay with everything else all this time? But she was groomed. Stockholm syndrome. So I have to excuse it. Even though if somebody mentioned my child, that would have been where I draw the line. But she was so far gone. Okay. That she said that she couldn't leave without asking him, knowing goddamn well he was not going to allow her to leave. He beat the shit out of her. She lost it. She said she still didn't feel right leaving. So she just started acting out. And it started causing an uproar. And she started going against him. She wasn't fearful anymore. She didn't give a fuck. She was going balls to the wall until he put her ass out. So that's what happened there. So he put her out, right? And in 1997, some of the people from the group, former members, were starting to go to the FBI. Now, in 2002, the FBI, ATF, and local law enforcement raided the compound. In 2004, he was convicted at a federal court, and he was sentenced to 135 years. Now, the property was not seized until 2005. And at that point, basically, he was appealing. They won't letting his monkey black ass out, as they should not have. But what I'm saying is, there was a slippery slope, right? Because he started out as a normal kid. Then by the age of 13, he was assaulting children. And somehow, some kind of way, he got out of prison and started a black nationalism group. And he convinced all of these people to follow him, including men. He was having sex with the men too, might I add. Having sex with the men against their will. He was raping them. He was also doing it to men, and it can't happen to men. And I think that a lot of people are probably like, ain't no man letting no man do this to them. You don't know what those situations are like when you're in them, when you're in the thick of it. So I'm saying all this to say, before there was a Nature Boy, there was a Malachi York. Okay. And this man started building a movement in the late 60s. And that shit lasted until 2002, until the FBI came and shut his black ass down. And I just think that it's interesting because a lot of times when we think of cult leaders, we think of white men who rape and have incest and do all of the things. Rarely ever do we do a little deep dive into when it's happened in our own community. But I think that that's actually what leaves individuals more susceptible to being worked over, because they think it couldn't happen to them. Anyways, until next time. Peace out, y'all.